Hi, this is Matt Robertson and welcome to the Team Roping channel. This should be your first heeling lesson on the dummy. If you haven't seen the prerequisite video to this, it will show you how to build your loop, parts of the rope, feed, which is very important, and swing, kind of the first parts of the swing. We're going to talk more about the swing here, but please watch that video first and it will get you ready for this video. I wanted to keep two different videos, keep it short, keep it sweet, and do things in the correct order. So the first thing we're going to need to do is talk about our equipment. First off, you're going to need a rope. This is a medium soft Excalibur Fastback rope. It's made by Fastback, the company Fastback. You want a medium soft because it's going to be stiff enough. The lay and the stiffness are the same thing. The lay of this rope is a medium soft, but you want a rope that's stiff enough to where it's going to stay open when it comes in there, but not too stiff to where it's hard to swing. If you have a stiff rope, you're going to have to swing a little harder, a little bit more aggressive to make things work. And if your rope is too soft, it's going to come in there and it's going to be hard to keep open. You can get these ropes online, either at nrshorseworld.com. I think they even have them on Amazon. And then you can go to your local tack store and you can find a nice medium soft heel rope. Heel ropes are 35 feet long. Head ropes are 30 feet long, but to kind of get used to having a 35 footer, spend a little extra dough and make sure you get a 35-foot heel rope. Okay, so now we want to talk about our dummy. This is kind of a fancy dummy. It's by Smarty. You don't need this dummy right off the bat. Usually I have a sawhorse around, and a sawhorse is really cheap, very easy to use. At this point in time, I would like for you to save your money as much as possible, be as efficient with your spending as you can, and just get a nice cheap sawhorse. Now when you get a sawhorse, when you lay it on the ground and you tilt that back end up, the feet are going to be kind of at this angle here. Now that's no good because when your top strand hits, it's going to want to fall down. You can see this dummy here is almost straight up and down, and that's how you want your sawhorse to be as well. So make sure you tie your sawhorse up to a fence, let the back angle down like this, and then the feet will be at a nice straight up and down angle, which will tell you where your top strand is, and it'll give you a little bit more idea of how your loop truly is. Also, you're going to need a roping glove. This is a nice cotton roping glove. They're only about $1 or $2 a piece. There's more expensive gloves out there, but this glove has the best feel and texture to it, and it's going to keep your hand from getting burned and getting blisters, and it makes your rope feel more consistent in your hand. It doesn't have that gritty feel. It gives a nice smooth feel. So now let's talk about the dimensions of our rope. On the dummy, I like to use a little bit smaller loop than I would on a real steer. A smaller loop's a little bit easier to control and a little bit easier to place. And then as you get a little bit better, you can use a little bit bigger loop if you want. But for now, to save your shoulder, make things a little easier, try to use a little bit smaller loop than you normally would. And this is the loop dimensions that you're going to want. The tail is going to hang down about 3 feet, a little longer than the heading one. Coils, I'm going to have 4 strands in my hand. They're all going to be nice and flat. That way, if the coils come out in an emergency situation, like say I caught my rope going down the arena, or if I'm trying to dally and these coils are coming out, they're going fast through my hands, you want them to be nice and even, and you want them to be correct in your hand. Then to start out with, you want your, if I put my coils together, my hands together with my loop, you can see that they're almost the same, and then I bring my rope out just like that. Then I'm going to check my spoke, same as the heading video, but we're going to go right here. Once you get a little bit bigger loop, you're going to come back a little farther, but for now, let's use a little smaller loop. Then our hand's going to come up almost to the same spot. We're going to hook our tip with our foot. We're going to come up to our right, and we're going to be right there. So almost the same dimensions as the heading, but this time we're doing it on the heels. And then on a real steer situation, we're going to see how I just kind of pop those coils up, shorten my tail up, and then I'll have a nice big loop once I'm on a horse. The other thing you're going to need for your equipment is something to stand up on. If you rope this dummy down here on the ground, you're going to have to raise your hand up high and do this very kind of awkward movement to get your tip to come through, or you can cause some really bad habits. And it's way more realistic if we can get up here. I'm about 2.5 feet high, and now I'm at the perfect angle to where I would, if I was on a horse, I would be realistic. So the first thing we want to do is bring our rope up. Now, all we got to do in this case, and I'm going to turn sideways a little bit, is just bring your hand down, out, and up. And what that does is it's kind of like a bounce. You just kind of bounce that rope and bring it up. And you can see it kind of does that little bounce right there. So kind of a little bounce and up. Out, down, up. Now, we're going to go ahead and work on our swing going down the arena. We're going to pretend the steer is running the same direction as I'm facing, and the header's about to rope it. It's important to work on this pre-corner swing. That way you're ready for it when you get on a horse. And then once we turn in, we're going to work on our after corner swing. Without a rope first, make this movement. So see how my hand is stiff? My elbow is straight all the way to here. And then once it gets past the left side of my head, then I'm going to pop that elbow up. I'm going to turn my thumb down, and I'm going to bring my hand back. And the whole time we're doing this, you want to keep your hand just a little higher than your head. But most pros, they keep their hand up here, or they're kind of out like this. But you want to keep it, to start out with, go ahead and keep it right up here to where it's a nice pivot area. That way, if you're here and you go to turn in, your angles on your swing stay the same. If you're swinging down here like this, and you go to turn in, then your angles get very wonky. One of my favorite words. Real slow, and you want your hand to move the same speed as your tip. If you swing really jerky and fast, your tip will get behind and you will close your loop up, and a lot of weird things can happen. So this is kind of the corner swing that we're searching for. Swing nice and slow. See if you can do this first. So then we're going to turn in. Now when we turn in, we're just going to use our body, turn in across like that. Now when we turn in, we want our loop, we want our swing to come across flat, and then once it clears the body of the steer from our line of vision, then we're going to turn it over, bring it around, and then bring it flat across again. So our hand is going to make kind of like a D formation. And that D is going to be facing kind of like this, towards up the sky. So you go across and then around, across and then around, across and then around, across and then around. Kind of palm down and then up. So now let's do that with our swing. Across. I got to swing kind of fast with these bigger loops. Let me get a little smaller. Make it a little easier like we talked about. Across and around. Across and around. Now we're going to speed that up. See that? You feel that feeding motion? Hear that feeding motion? Feed it across and around. Across and around. And this is the perfect way to start out. Now I want my angles to be, I want my hand to be just over, just in front of my forehead right here, maybe a little bit to the right. And I want my angle to be down right across steer's back. So somewhere between his front shoulder and his tail head is where I want my tip to be coming across in my swing. This is the position of where you need to be. So basically from the steer's feet to my toe, I'm about 4 feet, maybe just a little less than 4 feet. Also, when you start out, I want my right foot to be almost in line with the steer's left hind foot, lining up with his left front foot. There was a line drawn right there. There'd only be a couple of inches between my foot and that line right there. The more straight and behind you are, it's a little bit easier on the dummy, but you don't want to get too comfortable roping straight and behind, because that can cause some bad habits. And also, if you're way off to the left, you're going to be trying to reach around that hip, and that can cause some bad habits as well. So right now, to get started, let's work on this perfect position, and then you can branch out from there once you get more at a professional level. So we got the swing down. Now we're going to talk about the throw. Now, on our throw, we're going to over-exaggerate our throw a little bit, and it's called opening up your throw. So basically, we're doing this nice D formation with our hand, and then when we go to throw, we're going to open it up. We're going to go a little bigger, kind of like into a capital D, and we're going to come across and come through here with our hand. A lot of people teach this technique. I think that's wrong. I think that makes it harder to bring your bottom through. It makes it really hard to bring your tip through. You're going to want to let go right about 2 to 3 inches before it touches the leg. So our hand comes, we open up our throw, our swing's kind of a pivot, and then we just open it up. You got to go out, keep everything kind of stiff, and then have a nice roll motion. Don't want to pop your elbow, just a little bit of roll, and that roll will do is it'll help bring that tip through real nice. So let's go ahead and do that once. Nice D swing, angles are correct. I'm looking at the left leg. I want to look at the left leg the whole entire time. Wherever I look is where I'm going to have a little bit more power. If I look just at the right leg, I might not have enough power. Nice swing through here, and then out, and kind of a nice little roll, right, just like that. Now I do like the feet to be off the ground on the dummy. Some people teach to have the feet on the ground. The thing about having the feet off the ground is then you're going to know where your bottom strand is all the time. And right now these feet are about 2 to 3 inches off the ground. To get started, you might want to have the feet a little higher, and as you get better, you can let those feet kind of get lower, and it'll give you a little bit more bottom control. Nice D formation. Then I'm going to go out, and then a nice come across like that. You want to have the same amount of come across as you do downward motion in your loop. All right, so now we've got the throw down. I know that seemed really basic, but number one, don't rush your hand down too fast. If you open up that throw and keep your hand nice and smooth, then you can throw a decent loop. One good drill that you could do is this right here. This is not quite the same throw because your hand is going to be more at this up and down motion like this, but it will teach you that you don't really, the heel rope is not thrown, it's placed. It's placed in really nice and smooth. If you throw it too hard, your loop will collapse, and if you're too light with your power, you obviously won't have enough power to bring your tip through. All right, so now we've got him roped. Now what we want to do is we're going to rotate our hand down, our thumb down, elbow kind of comes up, and we're going to have our hand a little bit, and have our hand right here. Grab that slack with the palms down with this. See how this becomes a nice hook? That hooks it. Hold on tight to your coils, and then lift it straight up in front of your face. You don't have to bring it all the way back. You don't want to go halfway. You want to go all the way up to here. You want to keep this hand right here in the same spot, just like you're always riding your horse. You don't want to spread your coils off to the left because that'll make your horse duck. You want to prepare this hand. And at first, it's okay to just think about your right hand. And then once you get that right hand under control, you can start thinking about your left hand. That way it's not quite so frustrating. All right, let's do this one time, nice and smooth. Just like that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this really helps. Try to space out your time on the dummy. If you can do 30-40 throws in the morning, 30-40 throws at noon, and then some again at night, or that's the best way to maximize your progress. To try to get 100 plus throws in one session can be really hard on your shoulder. Tape yourself, see what differences you're doing versus this video right here. And once you've got this down where you're throwing some nice loops and it looks like your technique is very close to mine, then you are ready for the second lesson. Thank you so much for watching. If you're ever in Bozeman, Montana in the summertime or Wickenburg, Arizona in the wintertime, just email me and we will maybe get you a private lesson and help you out. So thank you very much. Good luck down the trail, rope tough, and thank you for watching.